Kwa majina naitwa Theresia Masawe, ni msanii wa sanaa za uoni. Specifically I paint with acrylics na oil pastels. Ila kwa jumla yangu hii ni style ambayo ninaifanya kwa sasa hivi. Imebeba kutoka style ya cubism na imeborrow from artist wengine au artist wa zamani wengine kama Henry Matisse na kina Basquiat because of the vibrant na zile rangi zinavyoonekana. Picha nyingi nazochora natokana either ni mimi mwenyewe au ni watu wangu muda mwingine wa karibu. Basically ni mara nyingi ninavyofanyaga ninatumia stories za watu wanao ni surround au za kwangu mwenyewe. Yes. Kwa hiyo with that then ndo character zao wanakuja like with the cubism and the layering, kwamba watu we are not as simple as we look. Kuna different segments of us that mara nyingi hatuzioni on the outside. We assume, kila mtu tunamwona assume ya kwamba this is Tura au this is Theresia, but Theresia is also this, is also this, is also this, and they help us to write the different parts and the layering. So, nilikuwa na, of course it's still abstract, but nilikuwa nafanya zile the abstract that everyone knows. So basically just splashes of color, and then siku moja I wanted to experiment with cubism, and specifically I wanted to paint my grandfather. I'm not really good with the typical portraits, so I decided to paint him in a style of cubism. So that's how it started, and I experimented until I came to this. It's something that has always been there. Like, my parents have always encouraged me painting. If you go back home, my mom will show you all my painting books. The sketches I did with, sometimes nilikuwa nachora na majivu. And hicho kipaji, my parents, alongside with other things, they walipenda kukikuza. Nikaendelea shule, nilikuwa na participate kwenye painting and drawing clubs. I'd participate in, kuna a certain of like a newsletter-ish at school where I would do the drawings on final design, and then when I got to med school, niliacha. Nilipoacha, nikarudia tena kidogo, and a friend of mine was also experimenting with acrylics, and then nikaacha tena, nikarudia tena during internship ambapo ndo mpaka sasa hivi. Ninafundisha watoto wa chuo. Basically nafundisha wanafunzi wanaosoma diploma ya udaktari. It became easier for me to practice medicine in that way because I still love it, but practicing in a hospital nitambua kwamba itachukua muda wangu sana, na I wanted to also do this on the long run. So how I balance that, kwa sababu kazini naenda mostly on weekdays. My weekends and my public holidays usually niko free, so I use that time to paint. Au nikitoka kazini jioni naweza kukaa hapa mpaka saa 9 usiku nikiwa nachora. So I usually use that time kuchora. Yes, I still see myself, because I think for me, and I tell this to people, like, the whole selling, interacting with other artists is a bonus. A huge part of me going back to painting was to ground myself, because I suffered a lot of anxiety during internship. Nilifanya internship yangu Muhimbili and it was intense. So nili go through several episodes of anxiety, ambazo kwa muda mwingine naamka usiku, I can't breathe. I was very depressed, and painting, every time I paint, even sasa hivi nikipata hizo episodes, painting grounds me. So I do still see myself doing this in 10 years. So vitu vingi ambavyo navyoongelea sana sana ni mental health. Ukiangalia, ukiachana na hizi kazi ambazo ziko inspired na baadhi ya watu wa familia yangu, au ambazo zina titles hizi za series nyingine, kwa mfano ile Alliance Francaise, mara nyingi sana naongelea mental health. Specifically, kwa mfano kama hii picha ya All Roads Lead Here, basically nilikuwa niko kwenye very huge dilemma kwamba nafanya sahihi, because I wanted to be painting full time first. And with that decision, it felt like I'm betraying myself. I mean, I still do love medicine. I went to 6 years to school. My parents sacrificed a lot. Studying medicine is not cheap, it's expensive. And then, my teachers and whatnot. So I felt as if I'm betraying a lot of people, but I still had passion for painting. That painting side, it's also me. I can't just leave it. So with that dilemma, it brought about different things. There's this one, there's another pastel ones that I titled it I'm a mess today, and it's okay, because I was confused, and majority of the time with the anxiety and the depression. So most of my works center around those topics. Yeah, sometimes there is one that a person noted that it had negative energy, but yeah, it centers mostly around the topic of mental health. But other pictures or other paintings I do are inspired by, historical figures, people in my family. I'm fascinated about the story of my great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers, and yeah. There are plenty. So there are plenty, because I tend to take inspiration from different artists. There is this lady called Peggy Kuiper. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, lakini yeah, she's also a contemporary artist. If you look at her paintings, are like more similar, almost similar to the style I'm doing. I also like the earthy tones she used, and she also does sculpting in that style of hers. Yeah, and to me, she's very inspirational, honestly. And other artists in Tanzania, one is Valerie. I like how expressive she is with her art. Like, everything is there on the canvas. The words, the art actually takes you and then immerses you in that world of hers. And yeah, so that's one Tanzanian artist. The other one, I really liked the work of Mihayo. Specifically zile za kwanza kabisa, zile zenye macho, was like immediately the first thing that usually caught my eyes was the eyes. Like, the eyes are staring at you, and yeah. So that's among the few. I think just the expectation of artists to produce art all the time. Like, you just have to constantly produce. I mean, art takes time. At least for me, it takes time. Yeah. So, like, the expectation that artists have to constantly produce artwork, they have to be constantly active on Instagram, and show. It defeats the purpose of art. I feel that it defeats the purpose of art. How welcoming it is, because when I first started, I don't know if you you noticed, but when I first started, I would go around different exhibitions and like try to see if this is actually something I would want to do at the moment. I'd go to exhibitions specifically on the first day of openings, and then I'd talk to different artists and try to see, like, all those artists I went to, from Sabi to Valerie to all the artists that I went to, they welcomed me with open arms, like, you know, come in. It's not snobby, like you can't sit with us. No, they were very open arms, welcomed in, give you different advice, you know, appreciate your work, very supportive people. I think that's what I like. Artist mmoja ilikuwa sijamsema lakini Tura mwenyewe. Yeah, I really love her work, especially the muted colors and the use of coffee kwenye her materials. It's